I'm Kaitlin Crockett, and I am the curator here at the Art Center. And what a fabulous turnout. Congratulate yourselves for being here tonight. While I compose myself, I'm going to bring up our director, our CEO, Andrea Knowles, to introduce him to you all. Andrea.
Catherine. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Just a quick thank you to our winter exhibition sponsors. Thank you Nancy and David Bildheimer, Dr. Irwin and Sintel, the Ruth and J.O. Stone Foundation, the Donna and Janet Smith Foundation, Janet Henderson, Patricia Reinhold, and Crossland Technologies, and Stephen Ruth. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you so much to our artists for being here. We are all here to honor you, and we are so lucky that you have just come tonight and you're willing to speak, so thank you. And thank you to all of you for being here. It's a packed house, and we're really in for an exciting evening.
Thanks, Andrea. And I also want to add to the gratitude for sponsors, those who contributed specifically to the Faces of Addiction exhibition, and that includes Perry and Lisa Everett and David Ramsey Foundation, yes. Matthew Bodine's production studio. He made the video that you see in the gallery, as well as the photos, and Nick Dew, Orlando Health, and Feldman Equities. Really, all these things are made possible by this giving, and we can't thank you enough. So tonight we're celebrating the opening of four winter exhibitions at DFAC, and one of them was a call to the community, and I'd love to see a show of hands who has worked in the Once Upon a Time exhibit. You! Bravo! Yes! And our guest judge was Nathan Beard, my beloved curatorial assistant who left the Art Center in September of 24. He wanted to be here tonight, has a terrible cold, is sparing everyone his germlies, but sends his love and misses everyone. Nathan's comments, the award winners, have been posted in that show, and his comments on his selections made available at the front desk and in some of the galleries. So I must, without going any further, give thanks to James Bauer. Is James here? James, James helped me with the outgoing exhibits in the fall, as well as Daniel DeWint, and then with installing all of the four shows. We worked through Christmas week and New Year's, and we made it! We made it! Thank you, James. So the plan tonight is we're going to give representatives from each of the four shows, well, the three remaining shows, an opportunity to speak. And we're going to start out with the show that is a solo exhibition for Stephen Schatz, and it's entitled Exploring the Human Form, Painting, Drawing, Sculpture, and Words of Stephen Schatz. That's in the Douglas Woodley Gallery, which is the one that's closest to us when you leave the children's area. And that was guest curated by Lynn Whitelaw, who's part of our panel tonight. And I'll just say a few words that Stephen is a dear friend of mine, whom I met, gosh, how many years ago? How many years ago, Jim? 20 years ago, possibly, when he moved to the area. And he taught here at the Art Center. I was the education director, as well as the curator at the time. And Stephen taught some art history classes. He's, when you see his exhibit, you'll see he's an avid drawer, and so he attended our live drawing classes for many years, as well as librarian. I like to take credit for introducing him to his sweetheart of 18 years, Joan DeFore, who's here tonight. And Stephen He suffered a stroke December 23. He's here tonight. He's just going to be in the gallery holding court, and I encourage everyone to please to visit him. So I do want to invite Lynn, who did a fabulous job of curating Stephen's, as the title reads, his clay sculptures, his paintings, and his drawings, and his words. Thanks,
I know
Lynn.
that this works.
You use this.
Good evening. It has been an honor for me to put this exhibit together for Stephen Schatz. I've known him also like 20 years, and when he first came to this area. And if you know Stephen, it's not like this is an exhibit of my friend, it's an exhibit of our friend. Stephen is just an amazing person. And I think if you know him, you can know him several levels. You can know him for the education he has in art, which was lifelong. Florida State University, where he got his BA and MA degree, but also he went on to New York and studied at the New York Art School and at the Art Student League. He also he lived in France for a while, and he went to the École des Beaux-Arts. And when he moved here, he goes to the morning, he takes light drawing every Saturday, and classes. So he's a lifelong learner of art. He's also been an educator, and he taught in high school. He also taught at the oldest public black university and college in Georgia at Albany State University. And I think that's where the enigma of Stephen comes about, is that he was born in Miami, but he grew up in Albany, Georgia, a Jewish family in Albany, Georgia. That's pretty amazing. And then teaches at a traditionally all-black university. That gives you a good insight into the character of Stephen Schatz. And those of you who know him personally, you know him as a great humorist. He could be up on a stand-up comic circuit if you wanted to. He is also an amazing prankster. Now, if you've been a victim of his pranks, you know they're not mean-spirited, but he can come up with some of the most incredible pranks you've ever seen. So he's just a remarkable person. It is a great honor for me to put this exhibition together of 55 years of his work. I have done another exhibit with him at Hillsborough Community College in 2017 called 130 Years. It was 3 older male artists, John Gerbax, Tom Kettner, and Stephen Schatz. I wanted to call that exhibit Old Men, Old Farts Painting. To use that. So we had to do 130 years, which was collectively how many years they had been practicing artists. But throughout all of Stephen's work, there is a consistency and a commitment to the human form. He doesn't paint landscapes, he doesn't do still lifes, he studies the human form. He's done that for over 60 years. And he captures the mystery and the drama and the human condition with all of these. And he does it in these beautiful drawings. I think his drawings are just remarkable. And in his portraits, his paintings, and tours, since he's been here in Florida at St. Pete College, he was working in the clay studio and doing incredible sculptures. Again, of the human figure, the human head. They're remarkable. I want to thank the Dunedin Fine Arts Center for putting this show together. It's something which it honors Stephen. I thank Catherine and James for the incredible installation of it, and I hope that all of you will enjoy this exhibition. And to honor Stephen, he's the one who's going to be wearing a little gold crown on his head. We were going to put him in the gallery, we were going to give him a throne, and he said, well, don't I get a crown? So I got a paper crown. So you'll be able to recognize him. Thank you.
And I know you wouldn't want me to say this, but Lynn, we hired him to to be the guest curator for this show and offered an honorarium that he wouldn't take it. And he's just a beautiful giver and just an expert translator of exhibits. Thank you so much, Lynn. So I started to say we were going to kind of go through the various exhibits. At the end, there will be time for question and answers. Okay. So the next show that we'd like to honor is with Kaitlin Crockett, Movable Type, Notes for Her Younger Self. And I'll just do a quick introduction. Kaitlin is a librarian, a printer, a book artist, an educator. She's the owner of Print St. Pete, a community print shop in Gulfport, and that primarily focuses on analog printmaking methods like letterpress and risograph. She creates zines, publications, broadsides, and other printed ephemera. And before I turn things over to Kaitlin, I encourage everyone to go into her gallery tonight to see her work, and then there is an interactive element where you are invited to sit down and write notes to your younger self, or to tell the stories that you're always telling yourself. We're going to break that spell. Welcome, Kaitlin.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Can you guys hear me okay? So I'm Kaitlin Crockett. Like Catherine said, I'm a librarian and printer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I came to printmaking. As a child, I grew up here in St. Pete. I'm a St. Pete native, and I always loved to read and write and go to the library for story time, and so I always loved books and the printed word. And I went to FSU to get my bachelor's in creative writing, and studied poetry and short fiction. And in my senior year, I was making little chapbooks of my poems, but I didn't know anything about what I was doing whatsoever. I'd never taken a bookbinding class or a printmaking class or a graphic design class. I had a typewriter and some old magazines from the thrift store, and I was making little collage booklets. And I was friends with a lot of art students, and they were like, you should take a class and learn how to actually do that. So I was lucky enough that there was a class being taught last semester called Book Structures. And it was taught by Bridget Elmer, who's a book artist, who I would go on to found Print St. Pete with. But she was my first instructor who kind of opened my eyes to this whole world that I didn't know existed. A world of self-publishing and the power of the printed word, movable type, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. And I started to make my own little zines and booklets, and really just kind of fell in love with this whole medium. So if you don't know what a zine is and you don't know what Rezo is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and you can, when you go into the show, you'll be able to see one of my old printing presses that I use in there. So I use primarily two types of printing. One is the way that all of our printed media was made for hundreds of years, up until, basically from Gutenberg up until offset printing replaced it. And so it's called letterpress printing. You use movable type, so individual letters made out of wood or metal, and you compose them letter by letter, line by line. And so as someone who never really saw themselves as an artist, but I really liked to make, and I loved the power of sharing words and messages, I was really drawn to it. So you'll see in the gallery, I brought one of my little printing presses. It's from the late 1890s, early 1900s. It's just made out of cast iron. I have some type set in there to show you how it works. And the way that you do it is you literally just pull the lever, it presses, metal or wood onto paper that's inked, and you have your printed sheet. Super simple, And I find that really empowering as someone who loves to educate others and share my story and positive messages with the world. Being able to print and set a message, just a few words, is really empowering. Posters and broadsides and things like that might have, fanciful images and lines of poetry, but the ones that I'm really drawn to are simple, bold messages. Maybe just a few words. So you'll see in my show in there's posters that, say, call your mom, find a way, move your body, things like that. Just a few words that resonate with all of us. These are messages that are really personal to me as I was reflecting on my journey here. And all of the messages are things that I am telling my younger self. And so I'm hoping that when you go into the show, you're able to resonate with my messages. And also, as Catherine said, I have a few sheets in there, a couple different prompts for you to spend a few moments to write a message for your younger self, or consider what story you've been telling yourself, right? So for years I told myself, I'm not an artist because I don't have a BFA, I'm not great at painting, right? But here I am speaking to you all, which is crazy. So that's why I love printmaking, and also as my work and both my day job as a librarian and at Print St. Pete, I love to educate others. And so I find that sharing and teaching is really just really beneficial to me as an artist and as a person. So I offer workshops and classes at Print St. Pete. If you're curious about letterpress printing or risograph printing, feel free to chat with me tonight. I'm happy to tell you more about it. Risograph looks like a big kind of copy machine, so I didn't haul one of those in here, though I did honestly consider it. But you can come to my shop and see those. I love to use analog mediums and kind of do new and exciting things with it. So thank you so much.
I want to add that Kaitlin, her grain prints are so affordable. She also has ungrained prints. She has little zines. So it's really a great opportunity to do some shopping. So now I'm going to ask for a show of hands in the audience. How many people are here who have a piece in Faces of Addiction, are here to see Faces of Addiction? Raise your hands, please. Wow. That's wonderful. And I hope that everyone's been seeing all the wonderful attention the show has received, seeing Nick and Liliana speaking on telly about the show. I know we opened it a week ago today, and we had quite a bit of traffic over the weekend. People who were in from out of state, who saw the show, the television promotion, and came in specifically because their lives have been touched by addiction. Liliana, as you know, Nick conceived the project, and he's going to speak in a minute. And Liliana was his chosen curator to gather the artists together and do the scheme in the gallery, and she did such a beautiful job. She also is not well tonight, so we send Nathan and Liliana our good wishes and feel them with us here tonight. But I did want to read something she sent to both Nick and I as part of her statement. In the country where 130 Americans die every day from opioid overdoses, This exhibition reflects the reality of a society where 29 million adults report having faced a substance use problem, and where 71%, that's 21.3 million, are in recovery. And that was taken from a report in 2023 from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. She goes on to say, as a curator, I want to emphasize the importance of mental health and reaffirm that exhibitions have a healing power supported by research in the medical field. There is a recognized link between personal, community, and institutional well-being. I am going to turn this over to Nick now. Nick Reale, who conceived of this collaborative project.
All right, so that's me. I'm Nick Reale, and I brought what appeared to be a very depressing subject into art. But it is also a hopeful subject, and I hope everybody here gets that out of the program. It's really not about doom and gloom. It's about bringing something that is what I consider evil and exposing it to the light and bringing it out forward and getting rid of the stigma that's attached to it. And so often those that suffer with addiction are made to feel weak, or they don't have the character to get out of the addiction, or that these are life choices that they make and continue to make, and it's their fault. And I'm here to tell you, I won't swear, that's BS. Okay? Because we all have faced issues and problems in our lives, and hopefully not everybody here has faced addiction, but I will guarantee you, you know somebody, a friend, a family member, even a friend of a friend, and you've heard these stories. And the most important thing is everybody needs to know, if you mess up, if you become addicted, and you recover, and you stumble again, it's okay. We're going to be here for you. Right? We're going to help you get through it. We're going to pick you up. We'll support you. And then if it never happens again, that's great. But if it does happen again, we're here for you. So what happened is my brother, who died in 2003, had addiction issues his entire life. And I mean from like the time of 12 or 13 years old. And he was brilliant. He had an IQ in the 160s. He could literally sell ice to Eskimos, right? He was charismatic, and when he wasn't using, he was the best guy you would ever know. Unfortunately, I think in the total of his life, I had about 10 years of having my brother, and I'm a little angry about it because I saw how great a person and how great it would be to have a brother like that. But he just, with all his brains and brawn and good looks, he just could not get out. And I feel a lot of it is the stigma associated with it. That you feel that you failed and that you let everybody in your life down. And then you continue to do that. At a certain point, you give up, right? So my niece has also been fighting the same fight. Very difficult. And we've been with her all the way. And we've run every gamut of every emotion you can imagine. We're going to do tough love. We're going to turn our back on her. We're going to do this. You know what? It doesn't work. The only thing that works is accepting them for who they are and knowing their love and helping them through whatever pain, whatever they're feeling at that time. So my niece has done a kids, and she has a home, and she had a great job, and everything was okay. And through some other difficult times, she fell off the wagon. I don't know if that's a really old term or not. But at the time, I was learning to carve. I was learning to carve because I wanted to make wooden marionettes. I know, it's weird, but I did. And at the same time, we were trying to help her. We were trying to get things going and taking care of the kids and, trying to be there for her. And I found myself in my shop every day carving heads. No idea why, but I would sit down and take a piece of wood and just start carving. And if you watch the film, it's the same thing I say. I looked up, I saw like 50 heads looking back at me. And I said, well, those are all the faces of addiction, right? They're all our faces. So I put things out to one of the best communities that I've ever been involved with, and that's the art community. I've never been around a more loving, accepting, non-judgmental, great organization, great group of people. So I put it out there. I said, hey, anybody want to take one of my heads and then turn it into a piece of art and return it to me, and we get enough of them, we'll do a show, right? Well, I had 50 people come through my studio in about 4 weeks. And every single one of them sat there for at least an hour and told me their story about addiction. A brother, a mother, a son, a father. I mean, everybody came through. And the only requirements, the only request I made is that they put the head that I made in the piece of art. And I personally didn't care what they did with it. They could have cut it in, they could have made them toothpicks, and that would be fine with me. And the other thing is a term that I never thought of art this way, but it was Wendy. Wendy looked at a piece that I did prior to this, and she said, that is really honest. It was from my gut. So I asked people to return the piece of art as honest. I don't want you to make a piece of art that's for sale. Because as an artist, if you make something that you think, I'm going to make it this way so that it sells, to me, it's a different kind of piece of art, right? So I said, the only thing you got to do is be brutally honest. So I had 15 people drop out because they said I can't be that honest. 2 people went into recovery doing their pieces. They looked way too deep. When they told me that, I was like, we don't have to do a show. We win. Right? But we're going to do a show. And the pieces I got back are amazing because they are truly honest representations of what their experiences are. And if you get the booklet, each artist wrote what the piece means and some of the backstory about it. And it's, to me, they were all heartfelt and they're all beautiful pieces of art. But to me, they are what art is, right? That from your gut. And you're going to share it with somebody else. And somebody else might not get the same feeling. They might go, ugh, I don't like that. But it's okay. It is okay because it's their representation. So I think we ended up with 36 artists. I wanted to have 43 because my brother died at 43. But Liliana, the curator, told me no more. And a special thank you to her. I wish she was here. She volunteered from day one. We worked on this for over a year. She poured her heart out into it. And she is a top-notch curator as well as a top-notch person. There's no way I could have done this without her. Of course, I couldn't have done it without any of the artists, and I want to thank every single one of you that's here, because it's not easy to lay your soul bare and then hang it on a wall for people to judge. So you can tell this is really important to me if you know me, because I'm wearing a button-up shirt and a coat. So this is about as good as it gets right here. So I want to thank everybody for coming and looking. And as you look at these pieces, understand that they are literally from somebody's soul about what they've experienced. We have two other speakers. One is my beautiful, lovely niece. And she did a piece in the show as well. And I don't want to say she's insecure, but it's her first piece of art. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really good. So you'll see it. And this is Doug. Doug is an artist. He's an amazing artist. He's very, very well established. And they both have stories to tell. Can I just pass the mic over? Yes. Okay, so Samantha, it's your turn. Everybody be nice. That's my niece.
What's crazy, I'm just a very insecure person and I don't like speaking in front of people. I'm probably going to turn like tomato red, so I'm sorry. No, they can still hear me, right? Do I have to hear? It's been hard to want to do this. Doing the piece for me, it was a lot because I didn't even want to do it at the end. Because it brings back all the trauma, everything in my life. But it started with my dad. And now I'm here and my uncle's always been there for me through all this, for seeing him do this. And so many people come together and so many people here right now supporting it, and the stigma behind it all, it means a lot. So thank you guys all for being here. I did get my associate's degree, and now I'm getting my bachelor's degree. I have one class left. But look over at my mom right now, she's probably bawling her eyes out. Just my whole family. No, I can't.
You can't? Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
It's all right.
My name is Dunedin. I'm an artist in the show. Hi Isaac. For everyone who showed a piece or is involved with this, you should be proud of yourself, because it is something that, whether or not we like it, it being an addiction of any sort, it's kind of something that we're ashamed of, or we hide. It can be a source of embarrassment. For me, my addiction, many addictions, but my addiction that really weighed me down for many years, and still I struggle with, but I'm sober, is alcohol. For me, for years, whatever drug or other vice I would go to always led to alcohol. So alcohol is the, what I had to get rid of. But somebody much smarter and wiser than me said, alcohol or drugs is not the problem, but the solution. And the problem is the pain or the absence of the hurt, or whatever it is that you are looking to solve. And for me, that solution for a long, long time was alcohol. So to kind of make a tie into this art show and art making in general, that is definitely my addiction now. And I think that's okay. Yeah. So I was able to find a replacement. So yes, I have 16 years sober. which is I do want to emphasize what Nick said earlier, that relapse is part of recovery. It can be part of recovery. It absolutely can be. Just because you fall doesn't mean that you can't get back up, and you should be supported and do it again. And proud of you for being so brave. Thank you so much, and thank you. Your hair is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you, Doug. Doug has been in other shows at DFAC. Beautiful work. So now we're going to open up to questions, if anyone has. And I can run to you with the mic. If you have a question, raise your hand. Or a comment. It doesn't have to be a question.
Was this like therapy for you to do this project?
Who's it directed
So the question was engaging in the creation of your piece for this show, was it a form of therapy?
Yeah, for me, I mean, it absolutely was. And it was a good, like I said, it's been 16 years, and it has gotten easier for me. But it's good to go back and look at and think about those struggles and what has happened through those, the years before that, before I was sober, and why I stay sober, and and the people, my family, people around me, and so yeah, it was very therapeutic, and so yeah.
You already know this, but yes, it was very therapeutic for me. But yeah, it's a daily struggle for me, honestly. I'm not gonna lie about that. That's my coping mechanism, is going back to what I know best, and that was drugs. They were like my best friend. So yeah, it was therapeutic. And it didn't matter what I had, it just needed to be something that got me out of my head. So, but it's a daily struggle for me, and right now I work in a setting where I help people who are still currently using, and so it's harm reduction, and that's pretty much what it is right now that my uncle's doing and supporting. So it means a lot, and that was more of, you wanted me to open up and talk more. Thanks.
Good job, Mom. Good job.
It was her mother who asked the question.
Does anybody else have a question? Mary?
I'm just curious how you put the word out that you wanted people to come and get it.
I put a single post on Facebook, and I could not believe the quick responses, and people from other parts of the country. We have, there's 2 artists from Ohio. I sent heads out to Georgia, California, New York, and everybody was all in on it, and it was pretty impressive.
I can't say how many folks have been in the show. I know what's running through their mind is, I would have liked to have made a piece for this show. I would like to say something about this. I feel like this is going to become possibly an annual and different locations. I think it's good. Because it's such an opportunity to heal together. An opportunity for empathy. Yes, in the back.
I just want to say congratulations for your courage, your confidence, and your perseverance, because I've walked some of that path and I know what it takes, and I want you.
Anybody else? I see Katie over here. She has an interactive piece in the show, and her piece is about shame, which in her statement, she feels like the source of a lot of addiction is shame. Do you want to say anything?
But I have not been prepared for that. And I don't even know if I can do it without crying, so, join the club. Well, I'm a crier anyway, so, but my piece is about shame and how shame can contribute to really any kind of addiction. With my piece, there is a book. What I did was I reached out to the community. I use a lot of found and old objects in my art. So everywhere I went to find something for this piece, I talked to people. I had people from all over the country share with me what shame looked like to them. It was like, if you could give it a symbol, what would that symbol be? I started out with the example of a wave, like how your emotions wave in and out and how that can create addictions that wave in and out of your life. And I put a book together because I wanted all of their voices to be a part of that piece. So in the book, it lists every symbol in my piece. It gives an explanation, sometimes a quote, if I was given a quote from somebody. And then the end of the book is all just lined pages to give everybody an opportunity to write down their shame, because the only way for us to get rid of it, he is correct, is to communicate. By communicating and getting that shame out, it starts the healing process and it helps you to move forward through whether it's an addiction or whatever it is that you're fighting for. And I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to start that. So feel free, either now, tonight, or come back another time and write down something that you need to get out. And I wrote in my note for everybody to be nice to those that are writing, because it's to be a safe place for everybody. So.
I'm Larry, and I would just like to let everybody up on the panel know that ones that have trouble and been through an addiction, I call Pinellas County the sobriety capital of the world, because there is many avenues to find help, and there is hope. And let me tell you, there's an army that's backing you. So never feel alone. And that's what I learned about addiction. It is the loneliest disease that anyone could ever have. So just to never give up and know there's help.
My name is Liliana. Yeah. Congratulations to the Arts Center for doing this in the first place. I had the opportunity last year to show 500 portraits of people in recovery, and that was due to the Fine Arts Center. And to buy a portrait of one of the artists that are. I guess we recognize each other as what it is. And that's the wonderful thing about the communication and support that this community and our community does. And I just wanted to thank you all for being part.
Thank you all. I just want to insert here that this show was intended for another venue, and it was only going to be up for a week, and because of the hurricanes, it got canceled. Meanwhile, I had seen Nick promoting the show, and I was just so mad at myself that I hadn't jumped on to have the show. And as it happened, we did in the end. So it worked out. I really absolutely meant to. And the serendipity of that is we left an empty gallery because we're getting ready for our gala coming up. So not only could it be up for a week, it could be up for a month. And we're so honored, so very honored.
talk about it. Nobody wanted to tell the truth of how we lost him. And then I lost friends in my town due to addiction, and the families would lie. Tell the truth. Let's learn, let's share, and let's help each other instead of being ashamed. So thank you so much.
Thank you for telling your story. We'll probably wrap up after this, but I will get your question, and then I just encourage everybody to keep the conversation going and enjoy all of these shows tonight. But your question is yours. No? Yes? Oh, comment, please.
I'm Susan, and I'm a grateful recovering addict, and I will say that even though I have like close to 37 years clean, the bottom line is people need to understand that anyone can become an addict. And it's not just about, for me, it's not just about being sober from alcohol, it's about being clean from all mind-altering and mood-altering substances. So to me, I have to look at it like the disease of addiction. It's all one addiction. It doesn't matter what the substances are, you know? And I also can't think about, well, how much time I have to clean and take it for granted. I have to think of it's just for today. And what I do today is I open up a toolbox of all the tools that I need to stay clean. And I want to thank Nick so much, not only for all your talent, but for following through, your dedication to gather so many artists to also carry the message. You know, a lot of people think that addicts are just hopeless and helpless, and that's not the case. They need help, but they have to want it. People have to want to be clean, and then we have to keep the doors open to show them the way. And that includes whether it goes, people go to rehab or go to recovery meetings, whatever it takes. You know, it's, sometimes people have to have the gift of desperation before they find the gift of recovery. But addicts do recover, and they can become productive, caring, giving members back to society. So I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Samantha,